I always took the red eye. It's the only time the airport is quiet, and I can speak for most flight attendants when I say the holy grail is dim lights, mixed drinks, and no screaming babies. Now, not all of us can take those shifts. Families and whatnot. Sure, I've missed a few family dinners, but what was I really missing? Game night? Breadsticks? Actually, those were always tasty. But slamming doors? Passive aggressive jabs? I mean, how many times should someone have to apologize? My sister, Lindsay, she never let anything go. You name it. Big things like faith and my lack of it, or even bigger things like Monopoly, even though I always won. That's what makes flying so great. It's a way up, a way out. I should have written the hiring brochure. The further I get from the ground, the closer I come to feeling more grounded in my world, in myself. And the red eye shift was always my way of keeping myself in the dark. Comedian George Burns once said, "Happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city." Often, it's easier for us to deal with our families, but especially their problems, by keeping them at a distance. The New York Times September 10, 2020 reports that resolving family disputes doesn't require forgiving and forgetting, but rather accepting that all of us have different perspectives and opinions. If we want to reconcile with an estranged family member, we need to let go of having them see it our way, because the emotional burden we carry will always be bigger than the conflict itself. Fight or Flight by Linda Griffith. Now, like I said, while red eyes can be quiet, there's always that one guy. You know, middle-aged, claps when the plane lands, but not enthusiastically, more like sarcastically, because he thinks he knows more about flying than any of us. That guy. And yes, I'm great at customer service. I can strip that mean mug off your face and stir it up in a fierce Jack and Coke. But I've always had trouble with those guys. I just shut down. And I mean, you'd think I'd have a great backbone with all the luggage I have to lift every day, but it's like every time I need to be direct, say no. I'm back playing Monopoly with my sister. I wish I knew how to make a mimosa back then, but fortunately, I can now bartend in the sky with this guy. And yes, it's on the house. The tantrum is over. Back to quiet. But not for long. I've worked all kinds of turbulence. One time even, I was winded on the cabin and rode 12 strings, landed in 14s, but everyone knows 14 is just 13 anyways. But tonight, bumps became headbangers, and not the fun, tipsy karaoke kind. I looked out the window. Gray. Rain. Lightning. Everywhere. No passenger likes turbulence, right? Well, neither does the crew. It's a jolt to the left, then back to the right, then left, right, up, down, left. I lose track. Somehow, I'm back in my seat. Oxygen masks drop. We put them on, and screams are muffled. Mine too. What also drowns me out is my crew shouting, "Brace, brace, brace!" It should be a simple thing to say. It's not a sentence or a paragraph or an argument, but I just shut down. I'm the closest to the intercom. This message needs to be loud. It's my job. My crew looks at me. They're scared. Like, if I say this one word loud enough, we'll land safely. We'll get through this. So I pick up the mic, and with every word, my lungs feel heavier. and heavier. Was it the change in altitude? Or the dread of what I knew was coming? There are no more clouds, and the ground is coming up fast. They say you see flashes before you die. But how does anyone know that? Have ghosts come back and told us? I found myself praying to fight one more time over Park Place and Boardwalk. I woke up on the ground, tilted to the side, hanging from my seat. But I'm alive. I don't think they'll ever figure out how. My vision was blurry, but I heard sirens. I smelled fire. And I felt blood oozing from my head. I unbuckled my belt and stumbled to my section. And I saw him, that guy. His arm was caught between two seats. So as smoke covered the field, I pried and I pried and I pried until he was loose. He looked at me and then at his hand and then back at me. And he smiled. It was genuine. We got up and he held on to me as paramedics arrived. I'm sure they thought bodies, not survivors, but here we were. But there were others who couldn't weigh in at all. Limp bodies, eyes shocked wide open now, lifeless. I just wanted to close my eyes and wish away all the gore. I don't know how much time passed, but suddenly there was a voice that lifted me out of my haze. It was Lindsay. She was holding my hand when I came to in the hospital. And for the first time in a long time, what I had been trying to avoid was now welcoming, comforting even. I spent so much time trying to put space between us. But I looked down and I was clutching onto her so tight I could see the whites of our knuckles. Despite all of that, she still let me hold on to her. We sat there silently, but that didn't mean we weren't saying anything. I wonder if things will be the same when I go. Board games, blow-ups. But as we crack jokes over cafeteria jello, she seems at ease. Maybe she's thanking her God. But I know without a doubt that she's happy I'm here. And we both understand that it's time for me to stop running. I don't think I'll ever fly again. But there is so much waiting for me on the ground.